Hello everybody, this is Starman and welcome back to Let's Play Blade Runner. I know I said I was going to skip some of the transitions, but in this case I can't do that because when we get ready to go to the Tyrell building, it's going to launch us immediately into a conversation, and I couldn't have this nice little intro. But I also didn't want to show this transition because it's another good example of one of the better replications of a scene from the movie. Yeah, that's the pyramid-like Tyrell building there in the background. And it's always sunny here somehow.
McCoy, LPD.
Just a minute.
Where do I go?
Grog test on the east wing, 66th floor. Here's the footage from the security cameras. You get a pretty good look at the man's face.
How'd he get past you guys?
He pretended to be a delivery man. Dr. Eisenduler ordered in a lot, so it didn't seem unusual.
I may have more questions for you later on.
Yes, sir.
We'll go ahead and head on up. And this is another one of the points where you actually might have something that is a clue regarding certain characters in the game. In this case, we did not get it. But occasionally you'll find a brochure here which talks about a certain model of Tyrell machinery having just been recalled, or a sales brochure describing some new material. In this case, one of them will involve a new Lolita model, and if you think it's creepy and disturbing that apparently there was enough of a demand for a teenage girl sex bot in the future, well, you're not alone. But, and I'll give you 3 guesses what character that turns out to be, and the first 2 don't count. But what we have here is, let's see what we have here.
The earring was shaped like an insect. I didn't know much about jewelry, but it looked like junk to me. Like the cheap crap sold at the stands and shops of Anemoid Row.
And we'll be going to Anemoid Row later. If you've seen the Blade Runner movie, it's the place that Deckard goes to asking about the scale that he finds. And we're going to be asking about that piece, which that's the second piece of insect-related jewelry that we found. You may have noticed, the first being that anklet that we found Lucy wearing in the picture. And let's see what's on the computer.
Someone had tried to access a bunch of protected files on the Tyrell network and failed. Not just once, but a dozen times. Tyrell engineers might forget their passwords, but what would the GravLab boys need with replicant DNA sequences and incept dates?
That's a pretty big hint as to who we're dealing with and why. And you can actually hack the computer to start getting that information for yourself. But we're not going to be doing that because we are an honest cop sticking to our job at hand. And our job at hand right now is...
I've seen worse, but not by much.
Wow.
Learn anything?
You could strain him through a sieve.
And a quick little mention here, there are a lot of great actors who did voice work for this game, but the actor who played Marcus Eisendeller here is one of the few I recognized when I first played it. It's an actor named Mike McShane, who, if you ever watched the British Whose Line Is It Anyway, you've probably seen him. He's the big, boisterous, loud-voiced guy. Weird to see him playing an effeminate weirdo like Eisendeller here. But the other part he's probably most famous for is he played Friar Tuck in the Kevin Costner Robin Hood movie, among other parts. So it's nice to see him in here. And fun fact, the actress who plays Lucy is the same one, her name escapes me at the moment, who plays Abby on NCIS. So she's been getting the goth girl stuff for a while now. But let's go ahead and check out the body.
Obviously, he'd been killed with an explosive, and not just because he'd been plastered on the wall with 1,000 strokes. The detonator wire I pulled out of his skull told the whole story. The killer was an expert. The charge had been big enough to do the job, but not big enough to shatter the soundproof walls of the float chamber. But I wondered why the killer didn't just shoot him.
Well, because explosives are more fun.
Disgusting.
Let's see what else we've got.
A takeout box from Kingston Kitchens. I'd seen more dead animals than live ones in the last 24 hours, and now it was dogs. 3 of them. I thought about Maggie and nearly threw up.
And kind of pixel. Ah, there we go.
The dog collar has a name on it. Ricky, maybe? This earring yours?
Maybe it belongs to that other cop who was up here. The babe with the shades and the cigarettes.
Ain't her style. Call her babe to her face, you're liable to end up with a severe limp. You spot anything you think I ought to know about, tell me.
Absolutely.
So Crystal's apparently around here somewhere.
Lagging behind again?
Gouza didn't say anything about me working with a partner.
Oh, in a pig's ass, Slim. No, I'm following up on my own. Could be it's linked to this Tyrell debacle.
Let's ask her about her case.
How's yours connected to mine?
I'm still fitting the pieces together. You know the Moonbus massacre that went down last month?
Gaff mentioned something about it.
The rogue skin jobs probably flew to Earth. And one of them is a demolitions expert, similar MO to your Vic upstairs.
Hell of a coincidence.
I'll call you if I find out anything more about your case.
Well, glad we had this talk. I think she's warming up to us, not giving us as much lip. Well, let's go ahead and talk with security, see what they know. Let's see, you got victim, earring, Tyrell, and security.
You friendly with Eisendoller?
Most of the employees I see coming in morning and night, but old Marcus, Dr. Eisendoller, he almost never left his lab.
He afraid of somebody?
I think it had something to do with the air outside and the germs. I once heard him complain about it.
Smart. What was his job?
Grub test chief engineer. The lab runs tests to see how a replicant would perform in different planetary gravitational fields. That kind of thing. One of the other engineers could tell you more.
Let's see, earring.
You know if anyone lost an earring like this one lately?
Not one of the employees, that's for sure. The boss enforces a strict dress code around here.
How did Eisendoller's moo-moo fit in?
Hey, you know, company rules only apply to the lesser mortals.
Yeah, well, that is a helpful hint that the earring does belong to our suspect. That's about security.
You know anything about Tyrell's computer system?
Security is tight as a drum, if that's what you're asking.
Somebody tried to access restricted data from the terminal in Dr. Eisendoller's office.
But they couldn't get in.
Yeah. Looks like Dr. Tyrell keeps his files safer than he keeps his employees.
And speaking of the big boss man himself...
How do I get in to see the big boss?
You don't, unless he wants to see you.
Okay. How do I make him want to see me?
Well, you could call his personal assistant.
Who is?
Don't know offhand.
Yeah, I get the picture. I may have more questions for you later on.
Yes, sir.
Well, I think that's all we're going to get, so let's head back to the station, see what we can get off that video disc. Oh, didn't even get the transition that time.
Mainframe and shooting range.
During his last election campaign, Governor Kolvig promised a bold new plan of action to clean up the worst regions of the highly toxic debris that surrounds our city, the so-called kipple. Just how much progress has been made since then? We spoke to the governor just before his weekly meeting with the city council.
Our studies have shown that the kipple's effect upon Los Angeles is minor. The radiation and toxic waste is contained in relatively small pockets, all miles distant from the city center. Nevertheless, cleaning things up out there is a worthwhile goal, especially with the thousands of specials living on the city fringes. For now, all I can say is that we're looking at several options, and I'm sure everyone will be pleasantly surprised by our final proposal.
Yeah, relatively small pockets of toxic waste. Nothing to worry about. That's new.
We get a new weapons shipment?
Yeah, Guzza requisitioned a couple of cases for the assault teams.
Let me guess. He's planning on taking out a small city.
Lieutenant's a big believer in overkill.
Yeah, setting pimps on fire will do that.
That weapon shipment just came in. You get the paperwork handy?
Why? You've got a pressing need to rummage through my private files?
Yeah, I forgot you were keeping your lacy underthings in there. Look, Jack, I just want to see what they're charging for a crate of rifles these days.
Too damn much if you ask me. Especially at the rate the assault teams are losing them. I guess there ain't no harm in it.
Let's see.
Scanning video disk. One enhanceable image found. Adding enhanceable photographs to Kaya database.
Only one image. Well, better than nothing.
Tyrell Grab Test Lab.
Let's go for the obvious one first. Let's look at our suspect.
The earring was shaped like an insect. I didn't know much about jewelry, but it looked like junk to me. Like the cheap crap sold at the stands and shops of Animoid Row. Give me a hard copy of that.
You ever have deja vu, Ray? So we have that, but wait, what's that in his other hand?
A bomb. Give me a hard copy of that.
Let's see. The takeout box.
A takeout box from Kingston Kitchens. Give me a hard copy of that.
Well, we already got that, but never heard of too much information. Let's pan scan a bit. There we go. Squeaky bone, but actually what we're going to look at.
The dog collar has a name on it. Ricky, maybe? Give me a hard copy of that.
Yeah. In case you can't guess, it turns out that the password on Eisendeller's computer is Ricky. And you don't figure that out until you find out what his dog's name is. But since we're not going to try and hack the computers just for the heck of it, we don't need to worry about that.
Uploading personal clue database. Downloading mainframe clue database. Clue database transfer complete.
Alright, well, let's see what new information we've got.
Someone had tried to access... The earring was shaped like an insect. I didn't know much about jewelry, but it looked like junk to me. Like the cheap crap sold at the stands and shops of Animoid Row.
Let's see, got the animal murder.
Judging from the distance between...
Got the license plate from that. No new information there. We do have the murder.
The detonator wire... The dog... Kingston...
One of Tyrell's...
Most of the employees I see coming in morning and night, but old
Let's
Marcus, Dr. Eisenduller, he almost never left his lab. I think it had something to do with the air outside and the germs. I once heard him complain about it.
This is all. We've got something about arms dealing, but no suspects or clues. Also, the moon bus hijacking.
I checked with UN Air.
Lightning Squad, Rep Unit, Battle of the Gemini.
Now, we got some new notes here for the factory bombing. Ties into Crystal's case. Let's go ahead and listen to these.
This is Crystal Steel, badge number BR61354, conducting the interrogation of Spencer Gregorian, leader of CARS, Citizens Against Replicant Slavery. November 22nd, 2019.
I once again asked my attorney...
Shut it, shitbird. I'm asking the questions. We've already put you on the machine, so we know you're not a skin job.
That term offends me.
Okay, so you're not one of those biomechanical scumbags. And you claim to not know anything about the bombing at Tyrell.
This is true. We advocate equal rights under the law for replicants. We have nothing against Tyrell Corporation for creating them.
That's some sick logic.
The replicants are living organisms, whether people like you like it or not. Replicants contribute greatly to the economic well-being of our culture. They cannot be discounted as such.
Hell, it'd be no skin off my nose if each and every one of them was hosed down for good. You ever see this guy?
Why, yes. Actually, I have. He was present at the protest. He's not part of our group, but outsiders are usually welcome.
How many new faces showed up that day?
Not too many. A handful at most.
Describe them to me.
I don't know if I can.
Oh no? Recording off.
That's not suspicious at all.
Describe them to me again.
Just the Rastafarian fellow. And that friend of his. A slim blonde man, Asian, with a ponytail. Can I see my attorney?
Bravo, Spencer. You've done your civic duty for the day.
Slim blonde Asian man. Well, that's gonna stand out. Okay, well that's all we've got at the moment. I think we'll go and talk to the lieutenant, see if maybe pull some strings. Because somehow I have a feeling I need to talk to the head man, Adrian Tyrell himself. Unfortunately, the lieutenant is not in at the moment. So instead, I think we're going to go ahead and head down to the basement. See if Mr. Gregorian is still here and question him about our case. Yeah, this is one of the bits where the game can get a little buggy about what it does and does want you to do first. So we'll go ahead and... Because Goose is usually in his office at this point, but sometimes he won't be. He's a busy man, got other stuff to be doing, so we'll go ahead and talk to Spencer Gregorian, the replicants' rights activist.
You're Spencer Gregorian, right?
No. I really think my lawyer should be here.
Okay.
I got some more questions for you. Tell me about your protest at Tyrell's plant.
I already told that other detective everything. Under duress.
I want to know about the people who were there. The Rastafarian and the Asian guy with the sunglasses.
I don't know them.
Were they together?
They seem to be. I saw them talking.
Before or after the explosion?
Before. I didn't see them at all after. That's all I know, I swear. I wouldn't even know where to find explosives. I'm not a violent man.
Of course you aren't. You just want to let replicants walk the streets.
They're not killers, Detective. They're innocents. They just want to live a decent, productive life like you or me.
It's that simple, huh?
Now, ask a little more about cars.
I got some more questions for you. A lot of people involved in your cause? Spencer?
Yes, sir. We're growing fast. As more and more people realize that replicants have cognitive and emotional legitimacy, the Citizens Against Replicant Slavery will spearhead the movement towards...
Save the pitch for someone who gives a shit.
We're peaceful people, Detective. We live by a code that men like you could never understand.
Try me.
2 centuries ago, humans were held in slavery. Brave souls formed an underground railroad.
So, you help replicants escape the city.
I'm talking figuratively, Detective.
Sure you are.
We're not children, Detective. We have resources. The world is changing. People are waking up to the injustices perpetrated by a sick society that you have helped.
A lot of them will wake up dead if reps are allowed to run amok on Terra, jerk.
And Crystal's just hanging around here.
Hey.
What are you doing here, Slim?
I'm questioning a suspect. Oh, what the heck. We were going to do this sooner or later anyway. Let's run the Voight-Kampff on him.
I'm going to give you a little test.
The other detective. She already tested me earlier today.
Uh-huh. Look, I gotta check out the equipment, and you're the only stiff around.
I object to this treatment. If you'll just call my lawyer, he'll take care.
Your lawyer would tell you I got the authority to VK the mayor if I want. And he'd have to smile and nod and kiss my butt until I cleared him. So sit down.
Okay. Now this looks very impressive, but we don't really get to do much apart from push a few buttons, so just want to calibrate first.
Reaction time is a factor in this, so please pay attention. Where do you live?
3rd sector, uptown.
Nice neighborhood?
Very. Is this going to take long?
Just keep your pants on, Spencer.
Needle wasn't even blinking. Now, each of the buttons represents a different level of intensity, easy, medium, and hard. The goal of this is to provoke a response, but you don't want to go too hard, too fast. So we'll start off with a few softballs, and it's also important to keep in mind the temperament of the suspect that you're talking to. In this case, we're going to want to stay mostly softball with Spencer, because if we start getting too severe, he is going to wuss out and completely invalidate the test result. So stick with some low intensity.
It's the first day of school and the teacher calls on you.
I'd hope I knew the correct answer.
Okay, yeah, we'll note that we have 2 little meters over here. The black one on top is human reaction. The white one on the bottom is replicant reaction. So he's testing pretty strongly as replicant with that response.
For your anniversary, your spouse gives you a real goldfish.
I donated to a family that couldn't afford an animal.
Okay, yeah, definitely testing strongly as replicant here.
You pour yourself a drink. Every time you finish one, you have another until you vomit. You wake up hungover and depressed.
What's your point?
Just say whatever comes into your mind.
You're a brutish oaf and a murderer, and I am not an alcoholic.
There you go.
Oh, slightly more human response there.
Your child comes home with a black eye.
I'd call the school.
Okay, more human there.
Out of the corner of your eye, you see a large black spider crawling up the wall.
I'd call animal services, of course. I wouldn't try to move it myself, not without proper equipment.
Okay.
You're 7 years old. You managed to steal several marshmallows from the kitchen and sneak them back to your bedroom. You're caught, and your father spanks you.
Well, it sounds like I deserved it. But my father didn't believe in corporal punishment.
That's funny. I feel like smacking you around a little bit. Let's go ahead and do one intense question.
Like my briefcase? Department issue. Baby hide. 100% genuine human baby hide.
Appropriate. For a killer.
Okay, mostly replicant response there.
You're crying. Why is that?
Crying? It's nothing to be ashamed of. I might cry for any number of reasons.
I'll bet.
Okay. Now we usually get about 10 questions before the test comes to determination one way or another.
You've been drafted into the Army. During a boot camp hazing, you're bound, blindfolded, and forced to eat worms.
Hazing's illegal.
Oh, yeah. You're really worried about breaking the law. Wonder why I'm the one on this side of the bars.
Civil disobedience has a long history in our world.
So does genocide, but I ain't out butchering my neighbors.
Let's go with one softball to finish up.
Are you taking any drugs?
No. How does your machine work? Is it a lie detector?
Not exactly. Your verbal responses aren't what's important. Why? You got something to hide, Spencer?
Absolutely not.
Test terminated.
So yeah, mostly human, but nothing definite based on that.
You keeping busy, pal?
Please leave me alone. My migraine's acting up.
Alright, well I think that's best we could have hoped
Ground
for.
floor.
Let's go see if the lieutenant is in. Ah, there he is. Yeah, you can ask about request a Tyrell meeting, money, and report in. Oh, let's go with money.
Can the department float me some chin yen? This investigation's getting expensive.
Look, this ain't on the department tab, okay? This is a personal loan.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
This goddamn city don't know how to manage funds. They've been flush for years.
I thought we were under budget.
Trust me, ain't nobody getting rich unless they're sneaking some on the side. Hell, I can barely pay for the fuel for my car.
Ever hear of public transportation?
Get out of here before I throw my desk at you.
That's a very interesting question, is how can my lieutenant, who is slightly better paid than me, possibly afford to give me a short-term loan of a few hundred chen yen if nobody is making money unless they've got something going on the side? Suspicious McCoy is suspicious. Let's request the Tyrell
The goons
meeting.
over at the Tyrell building wouldn't let me talk to their boss. Maybe you can set up a meeting.
Anyone else in that whole company who knows anything?
You and I both know it's a one-man show over there.
Yeah, I'll give it a try, kid. I'll have to pull some strings, so don't go in there half-assed. Make sure you got some legit questions for the resident genius.
Appreciate it, Lieutenant.
Now, strictly speaking, we don't have to go talk to Adrian Tyrell. It's incredibly easy to overlook the fact that you can request a meeting with him. But I made sure that we didn't miss this point, because this will lead to the moment in the game where we get the biggest star who there will get to come back for the game. Well, I say biggest. I don't think she's that big now, and I think she was starting to go through the career distress that has made her infamous since then. But, well, if you know anything about Blade Runner, you know who I'm probably talking about. If you don't, I'll explain once we're done. But I'm just going to let this next little scene unfold with no commentary.
Beautiful, isn't it?
The owl or the view?
Both.
The view's amazing. The owl, well, artificial things never did that much for me.
It's a flawless replica. We used a real one as a model.
Owls are extinct. Who told you the model was real?
Dr. Tyrell?
He's wrong, or lying. Check your Sydneys.
Eldon wouldn't make up something like that.
You're Tyrell's assistant?
Yes, I'm Rachel. Dr. Tyrell is very busy. I'm fully familiar with all Tyrell operations.
He does know I'm a cop, right? Blade Runner unit?
Dr. Tyrell has already met with one Blade Runner today and has important business to attend to. Your department should coordinate its efforts better.
Yeah, but...
You may speak to me or you may leave. I can't offer you any other choices.
Fair enough. I wanted to ask about Marcus Eisenduller.
I can't tell you who killed him if that's what you're asking.
We've already got a suspect. What I want to know is why the killer would be interested in replicant DNA information.
That's a stupid question.
Oh yeah? Why's that?
Your suspect is obviously a replicant, a very dangerous one.
I thought replicants were safe, more human than human. Isn't Dr. Tyrell pushing to make it legal to use rep labor to clean up the kipple?
Are we here to discuss corporate policy or Marcus Eisenduller's murder?
A little of both. You heard about the moon bus hijacking. Yeah, I guess you would have. 50 people dead.
You can't blame.
I'm surprised you aren't out doing spin control. The public gets nervous when your pets wander around the city without a leash.
Replicants aren't pets.
Right. Pets live longer and don't go around killing people.
There are safeguards in the design.
Yeah, I've seen the data. Implanted memories, a 4-year lifespan. I'd probably get a little crazy too, but I don't think I'd start killing people.
Wouldn't you?
As I explained to Mr. Deckard earlier, I've given the Nexus 6 model a past. I've given it the purity and innocence of childhood. And all the joy and despair that comes with a real existence. That's hardly a death sentence. That's life.
I thought you weren't meeting with any more Blade Runners today.
Well, I decided to make an exception. Mr. McCoy, isn't it? You do understand the need for the Nexus 6 to have an identity.
Not really. No. I do see why a replicant who has an identity would want to steal Eisendoller's files.
Please, enlighten me.
They want more life.
They're wasting their time.
They're gonna come for you, just like they came for Eisendoller.
I have nothing to fear from any of my children. I tell them all exactly what I told you. Have I given you what you came here for?
I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe.
Then if you'll excuse me, I have a stockholder meeting to attend.
So, yeah, that was Sean Young as Rachel, who, if you've seen Blade Runner or have not, she is the romantic interest for Harrison Ford and is Dr. Tyrell's personal assistant, and she's also, as if that mechanical delivery weren't obvious enough, a replicant. Of course, there is some question as to whether or not Deckard in the movie is a replicant. Pretty much everybody except Ridley Scott says that he isn't, and Ridley Scott says that he is. So, you know, it's a question of some debate, and it's also, well, we'll be getting to it in a moment, but there is going to be some question as to whether or not Ray is a replicant. And one of the hints that he might be is the fact that Tyrell agreed to meet with him, because there will be some suspicion that Tyrell tried sneaking a spy into the Blade Runner unit so he could monitor them, and that Ray might unknowingly be that plant. Of course, then again, there's evidence that he might not be, and the whole thing is one big long con that Tyrell was just taking advantage of, but that is neither here nor there, and we will see what this particular game has set for us next time, because we're going to go ahead and stop for now, and next time we will start on Anemoid Row. We'll see you then.